Hello everyone. I decided to use one of the filters in here. So let's go with it. It's funny. It's funny. I like this, you know. But anyway, hi tribe, hello tribe. I'm back after a couple of days of not showing my face in here. I decided to be first. We have a full moon coming in. I don't remember that full moon in what sign will be, but we're having a full moon coming on the 10th. We have today Uranus entering Gemini. I think that is other things. Hi Kayla, how are you, sweetie? We have other things going on. So first I came here to check up on my tribe, how everyone is doing. And secondly, I want to talk, as always, about something. I have someone in my TikTok making me a question about why is being so chaotic, something like that, like energetic chaotic or something, and because she was exhausted, and she's very sensitive, or she's someone that have a lot of energy. So I answer her, but during that answering, something like always happen came in. So I decided to come here and talk about it. But first, how is my tribe? How is everyone? I know that this is going to pick up when I'm in the middle of the subject. And that's it, right? So answering that question in here, why energies are being so chaotic. One of the things that I told her, or I answered in that video, I told her we have to specific. First, we need to discern, or we need to figure out what type of chaotic energy we are talking about. Because even that it could be high frequency energy, it can be chaotic if we don't know how to handle it, if we don't know what they are, for what reason we are kind of connecting it. So, but it would be because it's high and goes faster and it's a lot, so it can feel chaotic, and it's going to make you feel exhausted because the body is not prepared to go into that faster energy. Now, we have low energy frequencies that it can be dense energy, but it's low frequency energy, right? And because they are so low, they go slower. They pull us into certain emotions, right? So when we are going through it, we can feel exhausted as well, because our body is not used to go that slow or to receive that kind of heaviness. And that is going to feel chaotic. The light energy or high frequency energy is going to be chaotic, but it's going to be light. It's going to be, airy. So we are going to feel dizzy. We're going to feel, so both are going to feel chaotic. Both are going to make us feel exhausted for different type of reason. Now, right now, taking aside what we are going through in this spiritual conflict and these spiritual things happening, if I'm focused just in the energy, right? It feels chaotic because we are going through a lot of low frequency energies. We are going through a lot of transitions, planetary, energetic, etc. So it's going to feel exhausted and tiring. It's going to feel like it's too heavy to work with, right? So hi Ben. So dealing with this kind of energies, dealing with this kind of chaotic energy can make us, would require from ourselves to do a lot of grounding, but not just the grounding that is meditation, not just the grounding that is about walking and hugging a tree. And I'm the first one doing that. And I love to walk barefoot. I always basically do it. Is the kind of grounding that I'm talking is the one that is rooted in yourself. The one that is about every step, every meal, every bite, everything, with that kind of awareness, with that kind of gratefulness, or being grateful, right? I'm talking that kind of grounding, the one that is rooted in who you are every second of the day. That's how we're going to be able to handle this chaotic energy. Trusting and knowing who you are. Just listen music, meditate, read a book, go to the beach. Just do it. That would be amazing if you can do it, because it's going to help you. But to stay centered, to not allow those kind of energy to overcome you in a way that leave you exhausted. And I'm talking just a natural, normal day as we are going through. Is going to sustain you. So you do the grounding techniques, but what is going to sustain you during the day is not that, is knowing, trusting, going inwards, knowing that this is who I am, what is my energy, this is my energies, etc. Having that in mind, we need to be aware of everything that is going on outside. Right now, we have the full moon, we have all of these planets transitioning into different signs or whatever, moving differently in the cosmos. So that is going to affect us as well, because we are antennas. That is going to bring a lot of energy moving, right? And most of the time we feel them even before it starts happening. Okay, so the chaos is happening this week, but most of us felt it last week. Okay, we have this collective energy that is about fear, it's about frustration, it's about separation. And this is something that I talk in that video that I left in my TikTok. Sadly, we are masking our reactions to politics, to situation, to the conflict as love, as caring. And the truth is, that's not it. Love doesn't need to be loud, need for you to act. Not venting, not criticizing, not judging about what we feel is right or wrong. Things are correct or incorrect, and we're us in this community. We need to see it in a more big aspect of it, because the universal laws never fail. So contracts, collective contracts, earth contracts never fail. So we need to understand those things. So if I want to act in love, in caring, because I don't agree with certain things around the world, no matter where I am, I will need to do it by myself. I will need to try to do it the best way I can and not expecting something. That's love. Love said, I will do whatever, because what is right for you, it can be wrong for me. So if we change the way that we see it, the collective start getting closer, respecting each other, loving each other, just because we are love, because we love ourselves so much that we can act properly, things will be better. And this chaotic energy that sometimes we feel, that need that the collective have for light, that is maybe absorbing, is attracting all of the light from us, or all of this energy, because we're love, we are trying to be in that without entering in the matrix, whatever you want to call it, game, is going to leave us exhausted. And if we do that, if we can modify how the collective react and start acting, not reacting, and that's one of the universal laws, things will be better. We will be able to not separate, because we are focusing on the big separations, but even in between families is getting a lot of separation. This is reminding me a lot of what I saw in 2020, even before it started. A lot of separation, a lot of right or wrong thing instead of allowing the heart, allowing the trust, the belief in certain things, right? And again, I'm talking about energies. I'm talking about how we're supposed to try to make the transformations, not outside, inside, so we can finally see the transformations outside. Another thing that I was talking in that video that I mentioned to this girl, it feels chaotic and exhausted because we are not trusting this beautiful tool that we have. The most powerful, the most accurate, the most amazing tool that we have, this body. This is the tool that you need. This is the tool that you require to navigate in here. We are relying, and I love my tarot cards, I love to do readings, but a lot of people relying on them in readings, in tarot card, pendulum, crystal readings, whatever, in energy healing, Reiki, shamanism, even the ones that I do, in instruments like the Schumann resonance or whatever it's called, to know if we are going into some kind of planetary. And I can tell you, as everything, it can be wrong. As everything can be shown what they want us to see, because we want to believe that white is always good. Or maybe we don't need white. Maybe we need a little bit of dark, because that's the creation. Okay? We've been so in tune, relying so much in this, that we don't want to dedicate ourselves. We don't want to invest in this beautiful tool that is proven that every person have psychic abilities or the sixth sense. Because even the animals, even the wild animal have them. So what makes you think that this body doesn't have it? Right? And they have, even in the wild, they have the tribe, how you call it, oh my God, the group of animals, whatever, to teach the small one how to hunt, how to protect, how to run. Spiritually speaking, energetically speaking, we don't have that. So we need to make sure that we are taking the steps to study. No matter how good you are. This is not about if you are real or no. This is not about, because every person has them. No matter how natural you are. Because the natural of how these abilities shown is just to let you know, or it's more associated, I would say, with a calling that we have. But every person have them. But not every person is willing to invest in themselves, to study, to learn, to develop them with a humble perspective. Suddenly, we have to teach them. Suddenly, we have to create classes, and maybe you have to. Because right now, in this society, the bartering was taking off in the way that it was done before, for doing it in a more one-on-one. Now we have to pay. Now we have to charge, right? Because the universal law said that it has to be a way of correspondence. So I need to have that compensation that correspondence energy in some way or another. But besides that, understanding, developing is the best way for you to not feel chaotic or not feel exhausted when those chaotic energies happen. And hey, that doesn't mean that we are not going to get tired. It happens. It's just that it's going to be easier because you are receiving it first that everybody else, but you will know how to handle it. See, even if just for you to know how to navigate your life. You don't have to study them. You don't have to learn about them to become a psychic or someone that read people. You just learn them like animals learn how to survive in the wild. You will learn them to know how to live in a chaotic society that is already is. To be guided, not other by your own self. And then, not just that, having a backup group of guides working with you. Now, if you can see them and talk with the spiritual realm, that's amazing. That's another thing that will need for each one of you to study. Learning is the best way for you to invest and be able to navigate all of those things without relying in other tools. And use those tools for what they are. Tools to expand, tool to connect, tool to deal or learn or figure out certain things, right? To give you some kind of balance, not to fix, but to know each one of you better. Okay? So that's how you work. That's how you handle chaotic energies without getting exhausted. I will say this, as a soul activator and alchemical mentor, I will never get tired of saying to people, go to basics, go to ancient things. There is where the truth, magic, the true knowledge, or the ancient knowledge reside. Go to that. It will make a huge difference in the way that you live. Honoring those things. And I'm not talking about ancestors, or no, I'm talking about ancient knowledge. Ancestor is another topic for another day. But do it that way. Don't rely. Because even the things that are external, no matter how good you are, can be deceiving. Yeah. Even that I can be someone that read the tarot pretty good, and I know that I can do it. If I'm not aligned, for some reason I don't know what is going on in my energy that day, the tarot, the readings, especially my reading, can take me or misleading me without me noticing. So I need to trust first here in this beautiful tool that I have, in this beautiful tool that I am, knowing them, accepting them, and besides that, recognizing the light that is in me, recognizing the love that is in me. Okay, so that's only one another thing that I was wanting to bring here. I think I'm gonna do a video for my YouTube channel talking about something specifically that I saw about. I saw two things, but they're related to a spiritual ego. And again, maybe that's a topic for another video, because I think that I've been talking a lot, like always. That's my Gemini, my Sun in Gemini, my Mercury in Gemini, both of them in my third house. Every time that I can speak, I'm going to take advantage and speak and teach and communicate and all of those things. But yes, anyway, maybe you want to hear about it. I have these two videos that I start, like, kind of like they just show themselves while I was scrolling. One of them was talking about ego, spiritual ego. They were in Spanish, both of them. This one, I like it. She was talking about that ego that said that everything is becoming about how good you are. Everything is about trying to live as a light. Oh my God. And something that most of us that have been following me for a long time know that I always say, this is not about kind of thing. It's about allowing yourself to live, but putting yourself as a soul first, putting your spiritual path first. If you do that, if you put yourself as a spirit, living, not just saying that I believe or I recognize, saying I'm a spirit having a human experience. Living as a spirit means following and knowing and understanding the universal law, everything that if you understand and you practice and you know how to handle your abilities or your capabilities in here, you are living as a soul. You just need that, right? Not just about what it is that you are putting out there, to go and live as and be transparent about it. Not just talking about manifestation and things like that. What it is to live as a spirit, right? Not just having this dressing as white, no, right? Because that's not why we are here. If you do that, if you focus just in the spiritual aspects, and I get it, I want to live in the top of a mountain, but I don't want to stop taking advantage of this body and enjoying the things that this experience is bringing me that I will not have in any other planet. I want to live in here. Even that I want to go, I want to live in here too. But what I'm trying to say, yes, a spiritual ego is the one that is telling you that you need to do this and you need to be spiritual. The truth is, spirituality or being a spiritual, let it put it that way, being a spiritual doesn't exist. Because this is not a life, it's not a way, it's what we are, spirits, soul. So this is not about having this human experience, being a soul, having a human experience, but living as a human first and then as a spirit. That doesn't work like that. You need to allow yourself to live as a spirit and then having this human experience. Be the spirit, and I promise that the human experience will be way more better. Now, if you say that, so having that said, if you go to that extreme of being a spiritual first all of the time and not allowing the spirit human, you're not going to grow, you're not going to expand, and you are forgetting the most important thing, your soul contracts about living in here, about having the human experience, okay? So when you have that, what you want to come back and have the same low frequency experience, go and even more harder than it already is, in maybe in a time frame, that is not even as easier that it could be here, because it may be more challenging there. I don't want to, so I prefer to do it, to learn, allow my soul to have the human experience, but not forgetting that I'm a soul. That's part of a spiritual ego, trying to just be this spiritual, but it's to recognize that I'm not gonna go into mundane things. Having a human experience is not about mundane things. Okay, that's a different. I can talk about that later if you want me to, but we need to recognize that. Still, even that we want to have a human experience, we need to follow. We need to live in a certain kind of way because our soul needs it. We can enjoy all of the pleasure things that this life can offer us in moderation. And that doesn't have to be with the soul. We need to understand that they're part of the human experience, but it's not the soul. And the human experience is not the same as living in mundane things. Things that music, a lot of drinking, things that are for the body, that are proven to, numb the soul. By example, spirit in the meaning of drinking. If you drink, they're going to tell you that they're spirits. They numb you and allow you to be in a low frequency mood. Why then do you want to be? And I'm the first one that sometime here and there have my drink. A margarita, a frozen margarita, a strawberry frozen margarita, okay? Because from time to time it's good, because I want to have that. But living in the mundane of that, no. There are certain type of music that I don't hear. You live your spirituality in the way that you want it, right? That's okay. But we need to understand that telling you that there are things that need to be living or experiencing in a certain kind of way better for the soul, that doesn't mean that we have a spiritual ego. Facts are facts in the spiritual way. So we need to be putting attention to those things, okay? Now, it's a spiritual ego that she didn't talk about it. The spiritual ego that think that because you have certain connections, certain natural way of living or connecting or receiving messages, you don't need to invest in yourself. I've been seeing a spirit from the way that since I born, I'm a medium, I don't need to. That's his responsibility, and that's his spiritual ego. That's a spiritual ego too. Because everything needs some kind of investment. Need for you to understand yourself. Needs dedication. Some kind of investment needs to be done for you to be able to take the responsibility of dealing with the spiritual world, with the energy of others, even within yourself. It is important to know that. So spiritual ego is any of those sides. If I want to be truth, if I want to follow my soul will tell me, don't do that. You are confusing the human experience with this and that. Hey, you need to do that. Make sure that you know and understand properly certain things. So that's something that is important for each one of us to understand, to recognize, to see. The other thing is, like the other girl was talking about what people is taking advantage, or like a spiritual community need to be more out there and force society things, or get involved and be revolutionary, and that's the ego. No one can channel that. The spirit world, those that work with the spirit world, like for real, know that the spirit world doesn't care about those things. Doesn't care. That's our call, maybe whatever it is, your call. That's an opinion. We are not here to force things. That's a personal choice to use your abilities. That's a personal choice for whatever you believe here. The soul working on the levels. The soul understand that we need to be together. I will never do things that can create anger. We know that it's important energy because it moves us, it protects us, but we're never gonna get in that. This person said, like the witches of the past, they're not. If you go to the real witches, the one that came from Egypt, from Italy, from London, whatever, they didn't create revolution. They even tried to be normal with the community, but they become pieces or tools of peace, of solutions, of confessions and love and understanding they become those that people trusted. They become the voice without being heard, if that makes sense. The witches of the past are real witches. They didn't went and fight. They needed to come to us and destroy and do this hunting and kill a lot of us because they didn't know. And that's why so many innocents were killed, because they didn't know who they were for real. So they wasn't there, but they were a key in society. They were the ones that in some kind of way create that harmony, create that. It was when other type of belief start moving forward, and religious belief start making their path in this. But the witches from the past, the real witches, the ones that are ancient, they wasn't in revolution. They weren't trying to use the spiritual community or the spiritual teaching to create revolutions. That was something personal, that then they were witches and they're more modern. Those happened maybe 20, 40, 50 years ago. But if you go beyond that, they didn't do that. Because they understand that we were so a key piece in society that our job as masters of the energy, masters of communication, sacred tools, it was more important than just get in the middle of things to fight. They knew that the fight was done one by one, showing them, teaching them, making them trust, making them find their own voices. That was our job. That is the real work of witches, of souls, healers, whatever you want to call it. That's the true work for us. Nothing else. So if you feel that you have a call maybe to defend in a more vocal, understand that that's your belief that is rooted in your human experience, not as a soul. So you are living as a human, using a soul or spiritual belief as a weapon. And it should not be like that. Being a soul, trying to make a voice, trying to sustain, trying to share in a more one-on-one, whatever you want to call it. That's how it should be, without making noises. And that doesn't mean that we are silent, oh my God, and you are accomplished. No. You're the one seeing it that way. I'm trying to connect and support in my own way, as much as I can, the best way that I can. So when we understand that, we start respecting those kind of things, the kind of changes that we can create. Yeah. Don't use the spiritual community to bring your own personal agenda, your own human belief. Things are in the way that they are. And do your research properly before you speak, before you talk. Hola, Marilyn. So if we do that, maybe we can spread more knowledge in the ancient traditional way, with everything that we've been able to learn without relying on tools, just this beautiful tool that we have, without judging one point of the thing, like we were talking about spiritual ego, without being the other aspect, right? And trying to use this as a weapon. This is not a weapon. This is something beautiful. Living as a witch, living as a healer, whatever you want to call it. Living as a soul is a beautiful way that I want every one of you to experience. So maybe that way we can see the connectedness that we have between each one of us, and that respect, because we see us for what we really are, can make finally the transmutations so we can transform. But while we're still using the same things and we don't transmute as alchemists because society don't know how to do it, we are not going to transform as a society either. So we need to start transforming here, transmuting and transforming here, so we can transmute and transform there. What else? I've been seeing that I was like, I need to talk about this because I think that I've been saying this for a while now. We are not spiritual. We are souls. We are spirit. It's like saying, oh, I'm a humanity. Like, we are humans because this is the way. But it's not like our humanity is a way of describing the humanity. What it means to be humanity. Spirituality explains what it is to be the soul. Ahora, now, to say, hi, Aime, to say that we are spiritual, no, I'm a soul, I'm a spirit. I have my own spirituality because my soul have my own way of living as a soul. I'm not spiritual because I don't do this as a practice. I just live this way. So I'm a soul that I have a spiritual path that took me, as everybody else, through some religious belief, through some spiritual belief, but now I'm just me. So I have some type of spirituality like everybody else, but I'm not a spiritual being. I'm not a spiritual. Doesn't make sense, right? It's not a title. It's not a way of living. It is just what it is. So when you stop seeing it yourself as you are doing things or you are spiritual or whatever, and you see just, no, I'm just a spirit. I don't know how else to live. I'm going to start practicing and doing and just allowing my soul to be. But I'm going to give my soul the proper tools. I'm going to learn them. I'm going to use them. I'm going to believe them. I'm going to trust them. Etc. 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 Okay? So, I think that I talk too much. Now I talk too much. It's been like an hour, I think. And I talk about like 3 topics, 4 topics, 5 topics now. And I didn't have one. That's the funny thing. I didn't have one topic to talk. I just came here to see and check up in my beautiful tribe. And then, again, my son, my Gemini son, my Mercury in Gemini in the 3rd house. Bad combination for me. So, I talk about chaotic energy. I talk about the importance of investment, whatever it is that you need to invest in yourself. I talk about spiritual ego. There's 2 sizes, not just one. The 2 sizes of a spiritual ego. And I talk about this mistake of spiritual, like a spirit having a human experience and not being able to really live as a soul. Because if we live as a soul, really live as a soul, a lot of material things are not going to they're going to be important, but they're not going to be our priorities. Our priorities will be always to listen to the soul, always to listen what I have to say, always following what your own guidance is telling you, and trusting and allowing the universe to bring all of that prosperity, all of that abundance to you. So what else? I talk about it. Yeah, those there were 4 topics about it. So I know that I talk a lot, but it was needed to say. It was really needed to be said. My Spanish language is trying to get out of there. Nothing else. So, questions, updates, how I can serve you guys, how I can serve you, my beautiful tribe. I'm here. what is going on before I go, because I've been here almost for an hour. I think that this is me. I always kind of talk too much. But anyway, no one? Questions? Oh, yes. How is everyone doing with all of this craziness? And my hair is giving me a lot of trouble because I'm kind of sweating. So, no one? I know that it's a lot of questions in there. I know it's a lot of topics. So, anyway, girls, then I'm gonna be leaving. I'm gonna be moving forward, and hopefully I can be back tomorrow, maybe Thursday. Thank you, Maddie. So let's see what the universe brings us back and what I see, so I can react. Not react, to act properly, accordingly to whatever I see. That's the difference. Thank you for being here, for those that came, and see you soon. Bye bye.